Okay, so this is my labor and delivery story. Again, because I messed up the other one. Okay. I woke up at 3 a.m. on December 26th, and I was having really bad cramps. And I couldn't go back to sleep. So my parents and I woke up and we ate breakfast, and then we went to the hospital because I was supposed to be induced at 5. So when we got there, they signed me. My mom's dancing. They signed me in and sent me down to the birthing center, and they put me in birthing room 7, I think. Can't remember. Doesn't really matter anymore. And they started giving me Pitocin, and they gave me the lowest dose they possibly could, and by 9 a.m. I was 4 centimeters dilated and like 95% effaced. And then I was in labor for like maybe 2 hours with like really bad pain, and then they gave me my epidural. And when they came in and gave me my epidural, it was great. And then they checked me again right after that, and I was at 7. 7, right? I was at 7. So we knew that the Pitocin was working really well, and I was only on like the lowest dose possible. And then my epidural was working, and I was in labor for maybe another 3 or 4 hours. I can't really tell you because I wasn't really watching the clock. But all of a sudden I started like feeling everything again. Like I could feel my legs and I could feel all the pain, and I was like about to scream because it hurt so bad. I was crying and begging them to give me more medicine. So the anesthesiologist came in and was injecting medicine into the tube, and nothing was reaching me. And so he had me get up, and they checked it, and when he took the tape off, I was told that the epidural popped out of my back. Is that right, Mom? It's not looking at me. I was told it popped out of my back, and I was also told that doesn't happen. So I was in really hard labor at like 8 centimeters for an hour with no pain medicine. So yes, I know what labor feels like, and it sucks. And then they gave me the other epidural, and I was doing okay, and then like I didn't feel any pain, and then they started telling me that his heart rate was going down. So they placed an internal monitor on the top of his head, and we're watching his heart rate. And then it was time for me to push, and I'm skipping a lot of the really boring stuff. So it was time for me to push, and he wasn't coming down, but they had me push anyway. And so I pushed. I started at 3 o'clock, and I started pushing. I pushed like 3 times, and then his heart rate dropped drastically. So they had to call in the doctor, and the doctor had to get all suited up, and I was really scared, and they told me they were going to deliver him with a vacuum. And it's like a little suction cup thing they put on top of his head, and they kind of like pump it, and it creates this vacuum seal, and they pull him out. Okay, so they had me start pushing again. I couldn't feel anything. They just told me when to push. It felt kind of like I was trying to like poop or something. So I just started pushing like they told me to, and I pushed a total of 6 times, and they delivered him. And when they delivered him, his cord was wrapped around his neck 3 times. My mom is dancing. His cord was wrapped around his neck 3 times, and one of them tightened, and he was purple when he came out. Some people say he was blue, but I say he was purple. And he wasn't crying or anything, so they took him away from me. And he was put in the little warmer beside my bed, and like 10 seconds after he was born, there was an entire NICU team in there. And they were resuscitating him, and
It was about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Standby.
5 seconds.
Oh.
I mean, they were in there right after he was born. But the world kind of stopped, like time just stopped when I saw him come out, because I was scared. Because he wasn't crying, and he wasn't moving or anything, and he was purple. By the time they got him resuscitated and everything, they had already delivered the placenta and everything, and They had told me that I had to have an episiotomy, and I tore twice, which was amazing. That's the worst pain you'll ever feel in your life, unless you go through hard labor. Then that's the worst pain you'll ever feel in your life. And by the time everything was done, they showed him to me for 5 seconds. I didn't get to hold him or anything. They just showed him to me, wrapped up in a blanket, and I just saw his face. He was so swollen, but he was pink, so that was good. And then they took him down to the NICU, and maybe 30 minutes later, I'm not really good with time at this point because it was so crazy. The doctor came in and told me that there was this treatment that they could do to help save his brain from the lack of oxygen called therapeutic hypothermia. I hope I said that right. Did I say that right? Yeah, okay, I said that right. And basically what that is they just take your baby and they don't put any clothes on him. The only thing they wear is a diaper, and they cool them. They cool them down. He was like, I guess,
Like 2
to 3 degrees less than they're supposed to be, and you're not allowed to hold them or mess with them except to change your diaper. And they do that for 72 hours, 3 days, basically, from the time that they're born. And they can't do it after a certain point. They have to do it within 6 hours of birth. And so it protects the brain cells, and it keeps them from having any trauma from lack of oxygen. So after they did that, they found out that he had air behind his heart. It's mediastinum. I said that right. And so they said the only surgeon that could do it was on vacation, so they were going to send him to St. Luke's in Tulsa, but that surgeon was on vacation too. The joys of having your baby at a holiday. So they sent him up here to Kansas City, and that's where I am right now. And he had a chest tube placed, and they drained the air, and the air didn't come back, which was great. And then he started having some more problems, and he was on a ventilator for a while. He was on this thing called an oscillator, and it shakes your baby pretty much. That's what I thought it was doing. I was like, I thought you weren't supposed to shake your baby. But it was like, it made his chest go like this, just like, kept going like that. It made him really, really mad. He would get really upset, but he couldn't cry because he had a tube down his throat. But he would scrunch up his face and get all red and hold his breath and just scare the crap out of mommy. Anyway, he had to have a bronchoscopy because they couldn't figure out his lungs wouldn't stay open, or his left lung. Was it his left lung? His left lung kept collapsing, and the only time it would stay open was when he was on a ventilator. So he had to have a bronchoscopy, and when he went down for the bronchoscopy, he coded. And so they had to place 2 more chest tubes because I guess he had more air down there. Not behind his heart, but just like building up. I have no idea how that happens. Apparently the mediastinum thing was there's only 2 cases known ever, and he's one of them. So that's great. He got the chest tubes removed finally, and he was doing great, and then they took him off the ventilator, and then his lung collapsed again. So that's basically where we are right now. He has a surgery tomorrow, and he's going to have a trach and a G-tube, and a thing called a Nissen, and basically that's where they like take their stomach and they like with the Nissen, they take their stomach and like wrap the top of it, and basically he won't be able to throw up because he has really bad reflux for some reason. And so he's having all that tomorrow, and then we get to go home within probably a couple weeks. So we're really excited. My labor and delivery was pretty hard, and everything we've been going through is pretty hard, but we're fighters, he's a fighter, and everything's going good. So